its doors to you in September. Before we start, I'll just explain how the webinar will work and a few house rules. So only our panelists can be seen and heard on the call. We'll have a series of speakers, and at the end of the presentations, we'll ask for your questions. So if you just hover over your screen now, you'll see a Q&A button. If you click on that, you'll be able to type your questions in and we'll answer them when we get to the relevant section. So you can start posting your questions now, but we won't answer them until we get to the Q&A bit. We're also streaming live on Facebook, so if you're watching there, just post your questions into the live post and we'll make sure we answer those as well. We've put these limitations on the call to protect you. Zoom's a great platform, but it is an open event and anyone can register. So we've got some moderators online. They'll delete any inappropriate comments and remove unwelcome guests, but we've done lots of these events recently and we haven't had any problems. I'll just start by giving you a bit of background information. So ISD Newark is a partnership between Newark College, an organisation called Aviation 360, and a range of industry partners. Aviation 360, who are joining us on the call this evening, is a team of industry specialists who advise the air and space companies in the UK and around the world on attracting, educating and retaining the right people to succeed in their organisations. Together, we've worked with our wider partners in the military and civil aviation to co-design our courses. What makes these programs unique in the UK is that the starting point has been the actual job roles of pilot, engineer and ground operations. So these courses will prepare you for a career as soon as you graduate. You'll be immersed in the culture and the expectations of the industry, and you'll spend a significant amount of time with our partners through work experience and industry placements. We're currently in late stage talks with a number of global firms, including major airlines, aircraft manufacturers and airports, who will provide enrichment opportunities, industry placements and apprenticeships and job opportunities to our ISD students. In the coming months, we'll be making announcements about these partners and we'll be sure to keep you updated every step of the way. ISD Newark is also one of the projects that's been included in the recent Towns Fund announcement for Newark, and we're working towards a brand new build facility in the town in about 2 years' time. Our first intake of students will begin their studies in brand new phase 1 facilities at Newark College, which are being built right now, and they'll be equipped with state-of-the-art facilities provided by our industry partners. Those who progress onto our ISD Newark degree courses will then move into the new build facilities. In terms of Newark College, we're an Ofsted Good College, and we're really proud of the fact that Ofsted have praised us for our employer-led focus, for our high levels of support that we offer to students, and for our focus on what they've described as the craft of teaching. In terms of COVID-19, clearly the current situation is affecting our recruitment cycle, so we're online this evening, but we are hoping to invite you all into Newark College from June onwards, and we'll be in touch with the details after this evening. If you've expressed an interest in an ISD Newark course via the website, you do now need to fill in a full application, which you can now do by visiting isd-newark.co.uk. If you go onto the site and click onto the curriculum areas, you can submit a full application there. Once you've done that, our team will call you to discuss your application and make you a conditional offer. Now, the conditions will be based on your exam results. The ISD courses are challenging, and the conditions must be met for you to be accepted onto the level 3 course. If you don't meet the level 3 conditions, we are running an ISD level 2 feeder course, so you can enroll on that course and then progress up at a later date, and this might give you a chance to resit English, maths and science if you dip below on those grades. Okay, now I'm delighted to introduce you to our industry expert, pilot and Aviation 360 associate, Abby Witts, who's going to take you through an overview of our pathways. Over to you, Abby.
Thank you, James. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. My name's Abby. I am a pilot for BA City Flyer out of London City. Currently not really flying a lot. So in the side, I've been working with Aviation 360 to work on the pilot pathway alongside Patricia and Mark. Aviation 360, my screen has just changed, was created because there has been for a while a recognised lack of pull from the education system into the aviation industry, and it's something that's been needed to tackle for a long time. And then if I could get the next slide, please, James. I'll go for the next one after that as well, please. So here, as it says, it's important for the industry to have the education background, because it's maintaining that if you were to be a doctor, you'd be able to go straight through the education system, whereas you wouldn't be able to do that elsewhere in the aviation industry anyway. So today, as it shows that we have created the first IASTI in Newark, and we are going to be talking through the pathways with you now. Can I have the next slide, please? So we begin the 2-year course with 3 interlinking pathways. So we call this the combined pathway. There are a lot of common areas in our jobs where we all, no matter if you're a pilot or a ground or an engineer, where we all work together to get the aircraft to depart safely on time. You may not seem it, but there is a lot going on in the background. And our aim is to connect the right people to the right jobs with the right facilities and equipment and people and skills. Next slide, please. So we have a learning strategy that basically this is our outcome of the potential student in the IASTI. So obviously it's built in with higher education and you get some core knowledge from the industry. It is an industry-led course. We've had various support from the industry all the way through this. And you come up with an aviation plan, the mindset ready for the industry, as well as core skills and personal development alongside. And next slide, please. So here we talked about the combined pathway. So we start with the potential students and parents. We start your journey on this. I keep losing my words today, sorry. Our aim is to educate, retain, and attract, educate, and retain. And if we can attract the right student, and then we can educate them the right way, and that's the industry will be keen to employ the output from them and keep them for long term. So the combined pathway, so we have aircraft engineering, ground operations, and pilots. So even if no matter what path you would start on, you will all start on this combined pathway. It is a common aviation curriculum, and you will gain an overview of the combined topics, whether it's the introduction to aviation, the history, core skills, and going through all that side of things, as well as doing maths and science and English, as well as air traffic control and air law. And I won't bore you with all the topics now, but there will be some practical exercises too, such as inspecting aircraft and towing and marshalling, as well as communications and engine running, and using a variety of teaching methods, which includes virtual reality too. Throughout, as I said, there will be personal development, so you can explore self-identity and social skills and career life goals, as well as looking at the mental health and resilience side of the industry, as it is getting quite renowned to practice these in our industry now. Next slide, please. So here's our slide of the core elements of our combined pathway. So you'll go through the basic subjects, so maths, English, and science, and then we have all the theory of the aviation side, practical, and then the personal skills too. And next slide, please. So now I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Patricia.
Hi, everyone. I hope everybody can hear me well, although I can see myself now much better. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. So I am the associate lead for the ground operations pathway working with Aviation 360. Very quickly about me and my story with aviation. I've started in aviation with about the age you will be when you finish these 2 years. I was about 18. And although I did start in the flight deck, in the cabin as a cabin crew, where I actually specialized and spent most of my career was afterwards in ground operations, which I am very passionate about. So I'm going to go through and run through you what is the vision for the ground operations pathway and exactly what you can take out of this. So the focus of this pathway will be the role that it's what we call the co-pilots on the ground. It's the accountable person, it's the flight dispatcher. There's many roles in ground operations. There's a whole 360 operation going on whilst the aircraft is on the ground before takeoff to the next destination. But the point of contact with either a pilot or an engineer, the person who gives the go-ahead, the flight is in order, is safe, everything that is supposed to be in it is in it to go, is the aircraft dispatcher. And so the ground operations pathway has been focused on this role because the level of knowledge that it requires, it's the highest possible. There's a number of knowledge that the flight dispatcher must have equal to pilots or engineers. And the vision here is to create a qualification that recognizes that, which there hasn't been one up until now. If you move slides, James, please, for the next one. Thank you. So the next generation of flight dispatchers, what is our vision, is that the flight dispatcher will acquire knowledge from the combined pathway alongside pilots and engineers. Then we'll specialize after that in ground operations. And it starts with the aircraft dispatch role and everything that encompasses to become one. But we'll also be a flight dispatcher that will be able to perform in every other role that is alongside aircraft dispatch important for the turnaround of the aircraft. So whether it's centralized load control or airport operations or ramp operations or passenger handling, all of these departments is what makes all the operation on the ground running. And a flight dispatcher that can perform in any of these roles or have knowledge of or how any of these roles works will be obviously much more employable and will have a career progression that could be quicker and much higher. Next slide, please, Jane. So what is exactly the ground operations pathway? So it's a new training route that combines academic needs with industry and is led by industry partners for anyone aspiring to work in ground operations, specifically as an aircraft dispatcher, whether it's in commercial or military aviation. So we combine together academia and industry to make sure we help all the students to be confident and to feel job ready by the end of this, whereas they can go into higher education and do an aviation operations degree after that, or go straight away onto the job at the age of 18 in such a fast-paced industry can be really daunting. I do remember how it was, but if we do feel confident because we have not just the theory, but also the core skills to be able to operate on the ramp at the airport, then we've done our job and we'll be very happy. That's the vision. So you'll be aircraft dispatchers that are cross-trained, that will connect with the industry throughout this pathway and have guest speakers and do airport visits and do work placements and do simulated and have access to virtual reality so you can actually do some work and understand physically how would you be able to drive airside or do a safety check. And all of this is what the ground operations pathway is to give you knowledge, is to give you experience, is to give you the skills required. So at the end of the 2 years, you are actually employable and be able to go into a ground operations and from there choose whatever you want to do in your career. Next slide, Jim, please. So what exactly does this consist of? So it's the combined pathway as we've discussed. Then you will have an aviation operations qualification, which is an academic side, which is needed, like Abby said in the beginning. It's really important and necessary at the moment to have the right qualification, academic qualification. But then the whole side of skills, competencies, and behavior training will be something we're going to be focused a lot because it's what the industry requires. Having safety consciousness or having aviation values or feeling part of this industry that was so glamorous at some point. There's nothing like it. And then obviously core knowledge and skills really important, and will be subjects that will be delivered by industry trainers. So people coming from the airports, coming from the airlines, or that have performed on these jobs for many years and are coming along to pass this knowledge on to it. So it really is different and very robust and will give you everything you need. On the top of that, we will continue to work throughout the 2 years in your self-development, in your personal development, in your confidence, and you will learn a lot about you and hopefully we too, so we can help you. So in terms of core elements, how is this pathway going to be divided? So you'll have airport operations, which is an operational department within the airport without whom we cannot live in any airport. You'll have ramp handling, which is anything, anything operational that happens on the ramp. So one of the most important departments on an aircraft turnaround. You will then have the aircraft dispatch and the load control. And for those of you who might be asking, what is this of load control? Is that before the pilot flies the aircraft, he needs to know how much weight is in the aircraft. He needs to understand that everything inside the aircraft is distributed the right way. And that's the job of an aircraft dispatcher. So as you can see, it's really important. You have a number of subjects and modules that you will be learning in order to feel confident perform this role. And then we have the side of the passenger handling, which is equally very important because you will be the face of either an airline or a ground handling company, or in the military, the face of whatever base you will be. And so the clients, obviously, without them, we don't have an operation. So you will also understand and learn how to deal with people, customer service, or how to identify needs. So there's really a 360 learning in terms of ground operations, and you will be cross-trained. I think this is my last slide, Jim, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so after learning all of this, you can progress to university, or you can literally go onto the job market and be employable. So very little about it, but I'm sure you can go to the college and ask for more information. Now I'm going to pass you on to Mark Ryan, which is our colleague and the lead for the engineering pathway, and certainly will give you all the information about this. Thank you.
Thanks ever so much, Patricia. Yeah, my name's Mark Ryan. As Patricia said, I'm an aircraft engineer working for Aviation 360. So a little bit about myself. I've been working as an aircraft engineer for around about 35 engineers, working on base and line maintenance, also including aircraft manufacturer as well. I'm a B1, B2 and A licensed aircraft engineer, certified to release aircraft, including Embraer, Boeing and other modern jet typed aircraft as well. I've worked as a station maintenance manager for around about 18 years, based down at London City Airport, where we looked after a fleet of 20 Embraer 170s and 190s operating around Europe. And I also worked as a flying engineer, where the engineer flies on the aircraft to ensure that the aircraft is serviceable and maintained in accordance with the correct procedures throughout the journey, really. So maybe sort of 5 to 10 positioning flights and then operating as required. So let's have a little look at the engineering pathway. So the course has been designed with industry to ensure that you will have the theoretical knowledge, practical experience, and core skills and competencies and behaviours to become an aircraft engineer. From this course, students can go straight into industry, for instance, working for an airline or maintenance and repair organisation, carry out routine maintenance on aircraft structures and systems. And this could lead to an aircraft maintenance licence category A1. There are other options for students, both within the commercial and military areas for aircraft maintenance. Students may choose to continue their studies on the Bachelor of Science Honours Aviation degree course as well. Next slide, please, Jim. The next generation of engineers will develop their theoretical knowledge, build their practical skills, and develop a high level of competency and safety on an industry-led course, interacting with pilots and ground operations students to gain an overall vision of the airline or maintenance operation. Next slide, please, Jim. The pathway is designed by industry to meet industry standards. Therefore, students will gain a bespoke course which ensures the student will not only have the theoretical and practical experience, but also have the additional core skills and competencies that industry demand. Like other pathways, you will meet industry leaders, visit airports, study the subjects required for the role. Next slide, please, Jim. So after the combined pathway, students will learn a combination of theoretical and practical subjects. During the theoretical studies, students will develop the required knowledge regarding aircraft systems and structures, including theory of flight, flight controls, and aircraft systems, such as electrical, mechanical, and avionic systems. The practical element of the pathway will ensure that the student meets the demands of industry with regards to hand skills and maintenance techniques, using specialised aircraft tooling, aircraft structure, and system training aids and virtual reality. Practical sessions will be carried out in a controlled environment to simulate an actual approved workplace with the associated procedures in place. Thank you very much. That's a very brief overview of the engineering pathway, and I'll now hand you over back to Abby.
Hi, everyone. So can I go for the next slide, please? So the pilot pathway is probably the newest one in the industry. So obviously there isn't anything like this before. Everyone has a different route as to how to become a pilot, whether that is from straight from A levels. If they wanted to get into the industry, they can start at 18. But there isn't anything that has ever been introduced before the age of 18. So this is obviously focused on the pilot. My background, I was in the industry 8 years ago when I started in pilot recruitment, and also on the education side too. And then I went from there on to being cabin crew. And then from there on, I applied, and I applied to training in 2017, and that's when I started. So obviously the focus again is on the pilot. So we have here pilots are skilled professionals with the balanced knowledge, skills and behaviours to safely fly an aircraft. But with this in mind, there's an increasing demand for highly skilled pilots with the accredited qualifications. The ICE2 pilot pathway aims to build an accredited qualification with a deeper knowledge base with educational tools, practical examples, confidence and problem-solving skills necessary for the role. It's a new pathway, as I said, developed with industry to start building the foundations needed for a pilot career. And the pathway is designed to lead to a role within an airline or military career. Next slide, please. So this image here shows the next generation of pilots. So we obviously have the combined pathway with grounded engineers. There isn't, again, anything like this because it hasn't ever really been recognised before. I have seen it quite a lot with cabin crew that I get a better understanding of what happens down the back than someone that may not have had that experience before. We also do an aviation operations BTEC for pilots. So again, bringing in the education system. We also go through theoretical knowledge for which you will go through. So it's basically like the bit like the PPL knowledge you would get, but it's led by industry, non-technical skills and flying experience too. Next slide, please. So the pilot pathway is a brand new training route. You're going to be sick of that word by the end of this probably, for 16 to 18-year-olds who aspire to achieve a career as a professional pilot. We fully embed the required elements of pilot training into the education system. It leads on to a new practice-based degree that integrates the required professional pilot training, and students will meet industry leaders, visit airports, experience flying and study pilot theoretical knowledge. I just wanted to highlight on the new practice-based degree. Obviously with the pilot role, you won't necessarily go, or this pathway, you won't go straight into the job after. You'll have to go through further training to then get your ATPL license. Next slide, please. Thank you. So as I said before, the pilot theoretical knowledge is there that you will go through, which includes meteorology, air law, human performance, principles of flight, aircraft performance, flight planning, general navigation, radio navigation, instruments, communications, operation procedures, mass and balance, and aircraft general knowledge. So anyone that has got a PPL or knows the ins and outs of the PPL, obviously there are a few more topics there than what is covered. And then the aviation operation BTEC for pilots. Even though it is an aviation operation BTEC, it is mainly focused on the pilot area, but it's also good again to have that core knowledge from the aviation operations side too. And then non-technical, so we've we have a very high demand for non-technical skills in our industry because it is not just flying an aircraft, it's everything else around it that comes with it too. So that includes things like human factors and leadership, cooperation, professional standards, situational awareness, decision-making, threat and error management, communications, and mental health and resilience. And next slide, please. So here, this is what our typical student will come out looking like. So we obviously have personal direction, a well-rounded individual, effective communicator, social and cultural values, academic achievement, and complete well-being. And I think this could be my last slide. Yeah, so I'm going to hand over to Ross.
Thank you, Abby. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to talk in a bit more detail about Newark College and what we are actually going to be offering in terms of our study programs. Next slide, please, Jim. So just a brief introduction to the programs and how they are have been set up and developed. They have been co-designed by the air and space industry. So I've been working in conjunction with both Abby, Patricia and Mark to look at what the industry requirements are from an employer's perspective and what those needs and requirements are in terms of what's expected from an employee if we were going to send one of our students out into the world of work. So what we did is we've taken a really innovative approach to this, where we have reverse engineered these curriculums by looking at the job roles, understanding what's required by industry, and then working backwards to create a whole sequence of blocks and events and a qualification which links and works around the actual qualification and curriculum itself over a 2-year delivery program. We are looking to develop these skills, knowledges, behaviours and competencies that are going to enable you to leave ISD Newark, go into employment and be the best you can be and be as successful as you can be. Next slide, please, Jim. With regards to a study programme, it's made up of various elements. So with ISD Newark and the 3 study programmes that we are running from September 21, there will be an element of various blocks through those 2-year programmes. So in effect, what will happen is you'll spend between 30 hours per week in the ISD. On certain blocks, it might only be 3 days or 18 hours a week. On certain other blocks, it might be 4 days. So it does fluctuate, but it's a 5-day-a-week program. And the reason for that is it's built around what we call a business or career model. So there'd be an expectation that you'd be certainly employed between 3 and 5 days per week in any role that you went into. And we try and map that and link that across our curriculums. So we're building those skills that are required for you to go into work. You'll notice as well that we take part in the National Citizenship Service Scheme. Now, the NCS scheme, if you've not heard of that before, is an invaluable event and an invaluable part of our curriculum. This will take place at the end of week 1 and through week 2, where you will undertake a 4-day residential, which looks at team building, leadership, adventure training activities, and builds on various team skills and core transferable skills that, again, are going to enable you to work as part of a team, be able to be effective at communication, and understand all the different elements that make up being a good person within a team. We call that followership. So being able to be led and being able to lead a team as well. So that's going to be a really exciting element right at the start of the program, which will enable you to work with all of your new teammates, all of your new classmates, and work as a group to start to develop as a team. We'll also be undertaking a series of enrichment activities, 6 per academic year. Now, our enrichment activities are set in order to give you a first-hand experience of what the industry looks like. So depending on one of the 3 programs that you're on, be it aircraft engineering, ground operations or pilot, there'll be general activities focused around ramp and line operations, base operations, trips and visits where you'll go out into industry and go to an airport. There'll be guest speakers coming in and talking about their experiences and how they've gone from leaving school, going into college, and then going into the world of employment. They'll be able to give you a first-hand experience of what that environment's like. And that enables you to make a really informed decision as to if that pathway and that program is right for you. Hopefully it is, and that leads to employment and it leads to a really successful career. As it says towards the bottom there, we're employer-led, and that's why we're working with Aviation 360 and a whole host of industry support partners in order to ensure that your education is career focused. And it's the technical training that you require in order to be successful. We'll also have a really cool IASTA uniform, which will be worn by all of our students. Now, the IASTA uniform, there will be a cost associated with that, and that will be approximately £85 to £100 for the uniform. I should also make clear that the NCS scheme, although it's funded by the government, there is a £50 charge from the NCS scheme in order to undertake that. So for anyone coming onto one of our 3 study programs, there would be approximately a cost outlay of about £150. Now, please don't worry about that. If you are in a position where you feel that's unattainable, we do have various bursaries and various schemes to support people who might not be in a position to pay for that. Next slide, please. So the first pathway I'm going to talk about is aircraft engineering, and this is a level 3 study program where you undertake a City and Guilds diploma in aircraft maintenance. This is a 2-year in duration program, and I've already mentioned previously about the study programs. They are all 2 years in duration. And I'd just like to make it clear at this point that if you do exit the course before the 2-year point, you wouldn't be able to leave with a recognised qualification. So it's really important at this stage to make it clear that that 2 years in duration, you need to stay for the full length, the full 2 years. But it's a really exciting and really cool 2 years, and you're going to love every moment of being on the course. So any of those pathways, just be aware it is 2 years. We do have expectations around the entry requirements for all 3 pathways, and all 3 pathways require 5 GCSEs at a minimum of grade 4, and that must include English language, mathematics, and an approved science-based subject. The reason for those 5 GCSEs at that grade level for a level 3 study program is based around the criteria to achieve and be successful on a level 3 course. If you don't have those 5 GCSEs, what we generally find across college and with a level 3 program is without those, it's very difficult to achieve and find the course beyond challenging. We want it to be challenging and we want you to be challenged on it, but we want to make sure that you are successful, which is why we set that criteria. You'll see across the bottom there, there's various subjects that you'll study, and I won't go into too much detail other than to say that you will cover a number of theory elements, which are based around civil aviation authority and various maintenance tasks and activities that take place. But you'll also undertake a number of practical maintenance procedures and various practical assessments in the workshop, a brand new workshop facility that's being created in order for you to gain the hand skills required, again, to be successful when you go out into the workplace. Next slide, please. Our next pathway is ground operations, and we've looked in detail about this one already with Patricia. This is the BTEC Diploma in Aviation Operations, again 2 years in duration and with the same entry criteria. So some of the subjects that have already been covered and that you'll see on the bottom of the screen are based around aircraft dispatch, marshalling of an aircraft and guiding it around a aircraft servicing platform or ramp environment, and various airfield and flight operations lessons as well to develop your skills and understanding of that industry. Next slide, please, Jim. And then we move on to the pilot program. Exactly the same criteria, and it's the same BTEC Diploma in Aviation Operations, although it's a slightly lower version. Instead of being a full diploma, this is a 90 credit diploma. And that's due to the other potential elements that we will have within the programs, where we'll have manufacturer courses bolted alongside the 3 study programs. So therefore, the pilot OEM or manufacturer's course is longer in duration. So we've shortened the BTEC to incorporate that. Subjects that you see on the screen there include air law, human performance and limitations, which obviously relate to flight, navigation flight, flight planning, meteorology, and air communications, all key areas that you need to be conversant with in order to be successful as a pilot and as you progress. Next slide, please, Jim. Linked to all of our level 3 study programs after the 2 years are higher education programs or degree programs. And as you'll see on the screen, we are preparing to deliver a BSc Honours in Aviation Engineering, a BSc Honours in Ground Operations, and a BSc Honours in Aviation Pilot Practice. So those 3 pathways are currently under development with our university partner, and we are looking to develop and have those in full consent for a delivery from 2023 as it stands. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, thanks to our panelists there. Hopefully that's given you lots of information to think about. So we are going to take your questions now. Just have a quick look in the Q&A. Alan is asking, at which point do you decide which pathway you'd like to take? So Ross, do you want to jump in there?
Yeah, sure, Jim. So with regards to the 3 pathways, in effect, you need to make a decision now based on where you see yourself going in the future and your future career prospects, where you'd like to see yourself go. So each of those 3 pathways, there's an application portal online where you can go on and choose one of those 3 streams, and that would be your program that you decide upon. You need to decide beforehand, obviously, so you're on the right program. Now, there are options within the first 6 weeks that if you feel that the program you signed up to isn't the right program for you, then there potentially would be the option to move you into a different stream and different program, providing that there was space on that particular course.
Great, thanks, Ross. That kind of links to another question on Facebook about whether I can swap pathways. So yeah, Ross is absolutely right. If you go onto the website isd-newark.co.uk, you do apply to the specific pathway of pilot, ground operations, or engineer. With any of our college courses, within the first 6 weeks, you can swap around. Beyond that, you get into detailed levels of learning and it becomes difficult to catch up. But I presume while they're doing the common curriculum element, there is that scope for change. Okay, we also have an anonymous question there. What's the best thing to do after year 11? Well, I guess we'd say the best thing to do is to apply to ISD Newark and start your pathway, which can then progress to a degree course. You know, at the end of your level 3, you can either jump off into industry, into an apprenticeship, or you can continue if you're successful and you pass the course onto a degree level course and maybe enter the industry at a higher level. Does anyone want to jump in there and build on that? No? Okay, I must have got it right then. Okay, Bruce Pettit is saying, I believe the RAF selection process can take some time. So can students apply during the course so they don't have to wait? And will there be any fitness training on this course? So Ross, do you want to come in there?
Yeah, sure. It depends which particular career route the individual is looking for within the Air Force. It can be a longer selection process depending on which route is selected. The ISD Newark is set up more so from a commercial and civil aviation perspective, although obviously we do have links with the Royal Air Force as a support partner, and there are still opportunities to obviously go into the military and the Royal Air Force from ISD Newark. However, we do also have an Air and Defence College at Lincoln, and that Air and Defence College is particularly linked to the Royal Air Force as a direct recruitment tool, where we do undertake fitness testing and fitness training and develop your skills, knowledge and behaviours ready for a career in the Royal Air Force primarily. There won't be any fitness training as part of ISD Newark. However, there are local gym facilities, etc. And you can use obviously facilities offsite as well if you want to do your own fitness training external to that, and ISD Newark is the option for you. Otherwise, it might be worth exploring the Air and Defence College at Lincoln.
Great. So I mean, either one of those can be a route to the RAF. But I would say that the Air and Defence College is more focused on getting you through basic recruit training. Is that right, Ross?
Absolutely correct. That's the whole idea of it. Yeah.
Okay. Kind of linked question from Michael Harwood. You kind of answered this, but maybe we can build on it. What's the balance between preparation for civil and military careers, and at what stage will you have modules specific to those? So this is an interesting one, the space route. Maybe Mark, if you could just build on the concept of how this is actually a route to space as well.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. So I think you're absolutely right. With aviation, there's always a path into space, whether it's being an engineer on spacecraft or whether it's being an astronaut, or actually if it's working within the ground zone operation areas for space flight. So that is the link from from aviation into space flight. And obviously, as I think you've all seen on the news recently, that's becoming more and more prevalent, and there will be roles available in this sector in the near future, or more roles in the sector in the near future. So it's something that we'd like to very much embody into the curriculum, so to give the students that opportunity if they so wish.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Just a couple of general questions. Bruce, that this is being streamed on the IASD Newark Facebook page, and there will be a recording of it there. So if you hop on there, if you want to watch it again. And in terms of putting applications in, I'll just repeat it again. If you go to iasd-newark.co.uk, there's tons of information on there about our curriculum, and you can submit an online application on there as well. Okay, another question from Facebook. On the degree course, is it just clarity on whether flight training is included in the degree course and how that works? Abby, do you want to come in there?
Yeah, sure. So obviously the degree course is run separately, but it is, so if you're on the degree course, it's alongside flight training. So it's not actually you go to university. So when you're actually, everything you cover in your flight training is a university standard. It's just never been recognized before. So yeah, basically it is just done along flight training.
Okay, thanks, Abby. I think we do have a question around costs. I think Ross has slightly covered that. Becky, in terms of bursaries, can you just explain a little bit about what's available to help students? Are you there, Becky? No? Okay, well,
yes, sorry, I'm here. Yeah, so we have bursaries available. We have the Learner Support Fund, which is available so that it can assist with course equipment costs, uniform costs, as well as travel and lunches. Applications are provided once the course application has been submitted.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Becky. Another one for you, Abby. I guess this is someone perhaps not looking at the level 3 course, but looking ahead to the IASD Newark degree programs. Are there any particular A levels that would help prepare you for that if you were coming straight into the degree program?
This is always a really tricky subject because there aren't, obviously you need A levels, but there aren't any specific ones that are required. Ones that would help would be maths and physics, but they're not, like I said, it doesn't matter which one you do, because you can find, as soon as you get into the industry, you find that everyone comes from different backgrounds anyway, and everyone has a different route in. So that's why we have created this pathway, because it is basically the industry standard, or hopefully going forward.
Great. Okay, so when our degree programs are live, which we'll be hoping early into the next academic year in terms of applications for the following year, they will have entry requirements, and as Abby said, there will be A levels and a set amount of UCAS points. But as Abby said, so things like maths and physics would help you, I guess, in terms of the subject matter and being able to cope. Okay, so Alan is asking, with the degree program and pilot pathway, is there an idea of fees? I don't believe we've set our fee, but our general fees tend to be lower than most universities, but we will be deciding that. Ross, I believe we haven't set the fees yet. Can you confirm that?
Yeah, no, fees haven't been set yet until, certainly for the pilot program. We're still looking at different streams of funding in order to potentially bring the cost down of flying training. And as you just said, generally our degree programs are slightly lower than the average university cost as well, which is obviously £9,000 per academic year. So that's something we're still working on with our university partner to bottom out an overall cost, but it's not something we can actually state at the moment.
Yeah, so the university partner we're working with is UCLan. University of Central Lancashire, and we're working through the development of that course at the moment. Clearly, we will set our fees very soon, but as Ross described, we are exploring ways to finance the flight element of the pilot course and trying to reduce that cost as much as possible. And we're looking at kind of how students could access finance, how maybe it could be done through the student loan company and also through the private sector as well. So we're looking at lots of different angles, and as soon as that's been finalised, we'll be publishing those details. Perhaps one for Ross here on Facebook. If I do the level 2, so this is someone who's perhaps not confident in meeting the entry requirements. If I pass that, will I get on to level 3? I'm guessing that depends on particularly the English and maths level.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. There's two parts to that. Yes, one, you'd have to be successful and pass the level 2 engineering technologies course. And then secondly, if it was English and maths or English or maths that you was undertaken alongside that vocational qualification, then you would need a grade 4 in either or both of those subjects in order to then, in effect, graduate onto the level 3 pathway.
Yeah, and it's very common in our student body for people not to get the entry requirements, for them to start on a lower level, to resit their maths and English and then progress up to the level they originally wanted the following year or 2 years later. So if you don't get the entry requirements, this isn't something you should give up on. If you've got your heart set on a career in this area, you just need to keep trying, and we'll support you through that, and we'll help you resit maths and English, and we'll get you to the required level. So don't see that as a barrier. Please do put in an application. Don't be scared of the entry requirements, because if you don't get them first time around, we will try our best to help you get them the second time around. Okay, I don't think we have any other live questions. I'm just going to round up and talk about the next steps, just to reiterate how to get your application in. So if you've got any last minute questions, start typing, get them in quickly, and I'll pick them up at the end. So if you haven't applied already, please do visit isd-newark.co.uk. There's lots of information on there about all the pathways. Submit your full application, and we will be in touch with you. Now, a couple of months back when we first launched this concept, we had a form on our website which was an expression of interest. Just to reiterate, if you filled that very short form in, that's not a full application. So you do need to go back onto the website, it's the same website, and submit a full application, which you can do now. That just gathers a little bit more extra information. Once you've done that, our team will call you. They'll discuss your options, your predicted grades, and we'll make you your conditional offer. We'll give you a conditional offer on the level 3 in the knowledge that if you don't meet the entry requirements, we'll simply transfer your application onto the level 2. And later on in the year, we send out a link to complete an enrolment portal, which is just the next stage of your application. Really, we gather a bit more information that the government asks us to collect. And then come exam results day, our team will call you again. They'll check the results that you've got. We'll figure out whether you're successful on level 3 or you need to start on level 2 and then progress up. And we'll give you details of when to come into Newark College for the first time, pick up your ID. We'll give you a timetable at that point as well, and clarity about where to go and things like that. Now, as I said at the outset, we will be running an event for all applicants in June, assuming we stick to the roadmap, fingers crossed. That will be in person at Newark College. We've got some goodies for you in terms of hoodies and water bottles and branded stuff to welcome you to the course. And it'll be a chance to meet you, for you to meet the people that you've spoken to on the call this evening, for you to have a look around the facilities. The phase 1 facilities at Newark College, there's a significant investment going in there right now. So they're going to be great facilities for the first 2 years. And then if you progress on to the degree course, we've secured several £1 million from the Towns Fund, which we will be investing in a new build HQ in the town, which will be very exciting and will be a fantastic place to learn. So I hope you've got the information that you need from this evening. It's not your last chance to engage. We will be running further events, which we'll publicise on the website. And as I said, if you get your application in, we'll invite you into the college for an in-person briefing as well. But in the meantime, look after yourselves, take care, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.